Hello, Yukichi.
Hi, Zach. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Oh, you're sideways.
Wait a minute. Sideways.
There we go.
There.
We got it.
Woohoo.
How's your day going?
Good, how are you?
Good. Keeping well?
Yeah, just about.
What a time, especially for you guys in the dance community. This must be so different.
Yeah, it's interesting time to say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you currently practicing, or how are you able to do certain things right now?
Well, the restriction right now is that grades 6 and under, we can still have class up to 10. So we're doing that. High school kids, they're all in Zoom. Yeah, but you can have one student at a time. So we just kind of rotate who gets to come in, who gets to Zoom.
Okay. Yeah, it must be so odd and different, especially because dance is such a physical thing. It's hard to do virtually. It's not the same.
Yeah. I mean, there are things you can do. Like we try to improvise a lot because, they're all in their living room, or bedroom, or basement. So they can't really swing their legs around, but you can improvise. You can think about, the theory of it all, which is not a bad thing.
No, it's not. I mean, a lot of our physical actions come from our mind and our spirit.
Right.
So it's always great to reflect. There's a lot of beauty despite how much chaos there is in the world, I find.
Yeah. In a way, showed us the beauty, subtle beauty that we've been missing, I think.
Slow down for a second and just in. Yeah. Yukichi, how did you get started in your journey? Because it's been a long journey for you, and it's been a beautiful journey to watch from a distance. Patricia talks highly about you, and
oh wow,
you're a very respectable human being here in our city and our province. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. I'd like to thank Patricia Moore for bringing us together. First of all,
thank you.
Yeah. Where did I start? Yes, I was born in Tokyo, Japan. My parents are both actors, and my grandfather was a composer, like before and during and a little bit after World War II kind of era. So I kind of grew up in this, artistic environment, but I didn't want to follow my parents' footsteps necessarily. But I was in and out of theater a lot since I was born. So it was kind of, natural for me to have that around me, I guess. So I didn't really think about becoming, say, an accountant or, baseball player, things like that. But one day I saw a musical when I was 6, Annie, I think. And then, I saw all these kids singing, tapping, dancing. And that kind of really excited me for some reason, because my parents were doing more like Kurt Weill, Bertolt Brecht, kind of very underground, heavy themed plays. So I guess for a 6-year-old me, that didn't really seem like a illustrious career choice. But this, beautiful musical theater, like house is huge, 2,000 people. So I was like, I want to do that. And then my parents go say, well, it's easy to say that, but there's a lot of work that goes into it. And they recommended me start with the ballet because they said singing, acting, you can start later in life and still, find your own voice. But ballet in particular, if you don't start young, it doesn't really become part of you. So then I started ballet. And I somehow stuck with it.
So you started ballet at a young age. How old were you? Around 7, 8?
I was 6.
6 when you started ballet. What made you stick with it? Because, oftentimes we grow up and we say, I want to be a police officer. And,
right.
Our minds shift somewhere else. How did you say, this was your calling? I mean, if you look back now, you stuck with what you wanted to do, and you actually went through all the way. How come you didn't go into acting and singing? And ballet is also acting.
Right. Yeah, that's a great question because I'm not quite sure why. Maybe because of my family situation, I wasn't really quote unquote normal child. So in elementary school, I didn't really fit in because I was surrounded by adults, artists, and our world point of view was vastly different. So I never really felt like I was accepted in elementary school or in my friends' circles. But in ballet, I had like-minded people, and people thought I wasn't too bad at it. So I think that's where I got my approval as a human being in a way. So kind of it gave me this purpose for life. Mm. And it just kept feeding because, well, my mother was very, she planned it really well. Every time few years passed, she would pose me with new challenges or send me to a different workshops where I meet other like-minded, like kind of well-skilled people. So I will get fired up again. And then when I get slightly bored, she would show me this great ballet company's videos. And I'm like, wow.
Isn't it funny, our mothers, what they do for us, and we look back and we have to thank them for all the right places they take us and guidance, even though sometimes we don't want to follow it.
Yeah, totally. It's slightly manipulative.
Yes.
But thankful, I'm thankful for what it did to my life anyways. And she saw I was struggling.
She saw you were struggling.
Being bullied and not really fitting in and things like that.
Why were you bullied?
Oh, sorry, you cut off there for a second.
Yukichi, why were you bullied?
Oh, like I said, I spoke in a different tone. I did some acting as well. Like I did some theater through my parents, and through that I appeared on TV, very small, but I did. And in Japan in the 80s, it wasn't very a major thing, like boy doing ballet and your classmates being in TV. And then I think there was jealousy, but I think the biggest thing was I was so used to talking to adults, and in acting world during rehearsal, it's very intense. Mm-hmm. The criticisms fly and the yelling and, the discussion gets heated up. So I think I was talking to my friend in that kind of mode. So I would be very critical, very sharp, like, although I have no knowledge of anything or it's not like I'm good at anything yet. So, I was a jerk, really.
It was just a language that you were speaking. That's what you picked up on, the adult language as a young boy. How did you find your way of saying or accepting I am different and I'm okay with being different? How did you find that?
I found that once I moved to Germany. So the bullying got really hard. So I moved school to an international school in Japan. So I went to this school where, foreigners' children would go, and they would teach everything in English. Not because, I was good at English or anything. It's just that was a different school, different environment, and it was slightly better then. But still, I started to get bullied within ballet world as well in Japan, because the mentality of the people in its roots are not so far from it. And I was still very clueless to how I was to other people. So then one year, I was 13, Hamburg Ballet from Germany came to tour to Tokyo, and they needed some children to dance in their Swan Lake performance. So I was lucky enough to be chosen, and I was in it. And I just fell in love with the company. It was professional, the high level of athleticism, obviously, and the artistry. So again, through my mother's little whispered in my ears. I went to the ballet master, who's like a coach, I guess, not a director, but a coach, and said like, how can I join you guys? And he said, oh, you should just come to our school. And then that was that. Like, I didn't have to audition. I didn't have to write my resume or anything. And then that was June or something like that. Yeah, I think it was June 1994.
Was that scary though, to leave mom and dad behind, go to a whole new country, a world?
Well, I think ignorance is bliss there. Like, I had no clue what that meant, going overseas, right? And I think I was so uncomfortable in my own skin, in my own country, I felt like that was my only way out. So 3 months later, I was in Germany already.
Yukichi, what was the uncomfort? I mean, what were they saying to you, or was it a physical harm? What were they doing to really bring you down? And then what were you doing to bring yourself down? Because I know that our minds can be our own battle at times as well, right?
Yeah. Well, I grew up in a very critical household, like almost this Asian toxic culture, I think. And I was kind of letting that out on my friends. Mm-hmm. So again, it was totally my fault in hindsight. I wasn't very nice. I was slightly mean. I was very selfish to a degree because I didn't grow up with much. So like everything that I had, I would hog, whether it was information, whether it was treats, whether it was opportunities. So I was very greedy in that sense. And I think that wouldn't ring well with anyone, I guess.
No.
Yeah, but I didn't understand because I didn't self-reflect.
And did Germany give you that ability to self-reflect? Is that when you had that epiphany where you said, there's something here, and you saw a different world? Did that make you feel, hey, you don't have a safety net? The world is bigger than we think it is at times, and it's bigger than our minds, and we need to open it up.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be hard, and we're really, like you said, you grew up in a very critical household. That's all you knew,
right?
Yeah.
No, because I went to Germany. I was in co-ed res, because they didn't. I know, like National Ballet of Canada, they have boys res and girls res, but in Germany it was co-ed. So it was like suddenly I was in university at age of 14 in a way, and I had the chance to recreate myself, my image, my facade, so to speak. And this time I was successful because they were all like-minded people. All we were focusing on was ballet, and I made great friends. And then that acceptance allowed me to kind of realize that how I approach my friends can change the world. I'm just a mere, my friend's reaction is pretty much a mere reflection of my actions in a way. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'm happy you found that, though. So many people don't find that time for self-reflection. And I hope through this pandemic, people did get that chance to pause and say, let me reevaluate my life. Where am I heading? What is the purpose here? Who are my friends, right? Who are the people around me? Because a lot of that influences us as well.
Totally. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I really noticed your own existence can only be confirmed by the objective eyes. Because you can only see yourself through camera mirrors. Like, you know what I mean? Like you really yourself.
I think it's the Japanese. They say that we have 3 masks. One, who we are with our friends, one, who we are with our close family. And then there's one mask that's who we truly are. And, that's with ourselves. And oftentimes we stick with the other 2 and not ourselves, right? So when you figure you out, you figure out the world, I think. Or it makes the world a little easier on yourself. So from Germany, how did you end up in the beautiful country of Canada.
Oh, yeah. So in Germany, I moved in 1994, studied it at the school for 5 years, and then I joined the company in 1999. And at that year, my now partner, wife, Galen Johnston Hattori, joined the company in the same year, actually. Our first encounter was actually in front of the building. We were approaching from opposite direction to the door, and I saw she was about to go into the door. So, a true gentleman fashion, I ran and tried to open the door for her. And it was raining a little bit, and there was like a metal grate right under the door. And I just slipped and fell. Right. So that was my first encounter. It's like, okay, it can only get better from here.
Yeah. Smooth, right?
Yeah, totally. This is what you get for rushing to get someone's attention. But then we didn't get together till much later. But so we fell in love, and we were in company for 7 years after that. But because I joined this institution so early, no matter how many years I've worked with them, at the age of 24, all you want to be recognized as is like this seasoned, human being. Yes, although you're still quite young and inexperienced. But I felt like I was still being coddled at home. So I felt like the need to go out and be treated as an adult, solely as an adult. Because I think the directors, the coaches, they all still saw me as this 14-year-old boy who came from Japan. So that image was kind of pushed upon me, no matter how badly I tried to change.
Like you wanted to grow as an individual, you wanted to do your own thing, but you were kind of labeled as this individual from Japan, this boy from Japan, and we got to take care of him. We got to show him this, which you just wanted to do yourself and grow yourself.
Yeah, in a way, like the roles I was assigned to was very specific. Okay. Again, hindsight is 2020. That was my strength, so of course they'll put me there, and I didn't try to hone my skill that wasn't quite in that level. Like I only sharpened my skill that I was good at, but I didn't try to compensate my shortcomings, I guess.
Were your shortcomings more on the personal side?
No, I think it was more physical. I'm 5'4", okay. 5'4", and in ballet, well, that's tiny. Yeah, but I didn't necessarily, bulk up so that I could partner my female counterparts and things like that. So there were a little bit of that, again, this selfishness in there. But again, when I moved to Calgary, I was able to embrace that kind of weakness because, again, I didn't have my comfort zone to console me, like you said. Like there is no way out once you remove yourself from that environment.
There's a beauty in being uncomfortable, isn't there?
Yeah. And necessity and strength and all that is in there. Yeah.
Those things that we tap into that we didn't realize we had, that inner strength.
Right.
When you came to Calgary, was there a certain ballet school you went to, or was it the Alberta Ballet?
Yeah. So my partner and I wanted to leave the company. We knew that, but then we also didn't want to go separate ways to different companies. So from beginning, we said, like, let's try to find a company that will hire us both.
Right.
And Alberta Ballet was the first one that hired us both.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's difficult to move as partner. It's easier let's say, if we're compatible dancers, but Galen is 5'9", I'm 5'4", so we're not necessarily compatible in a dancing partnership sense. So it was very hard to find company. But here they saw us as individuals. They thought we were both strong, so we decided to come here.
Now, from the Alberta Ballet, you spinned off and created the Hattori Williamson School.
Mm-hmm.
How many years ago was that?
That was 5 years ago.
5 years ago. Okay.
Yeah, so I danced with the Alberta Ballet 10 years. I moved here 2006, danced there for 10 years, and then we opened the school.
Nice. And how has the reception been from teaching students and going to that level now and not being 10 years now with the ballet? Has it been tough on you to separate yourself from the ballet, Alberta Ballet, or are you still hand in hand in a way?
Yeah, well, already in Germany, I kind of felt this, not a shift, but this discrepancy within me, like something in the system is not quite working. And with Alberta Ballet, I experienced a lot, but I saw like the same issues. And I tried to, make myself heard, but it was almost talking to a wall. Maybe I wasn't eloquent enough, but then, so I tried to take a different approach to start a shift in this industry. And my choice was to start working on the foundation of everything, which is youth, education of youth. So I'm seeing it as creating my own infrastructure of growth. So the earth is, fertilized, you plant the seed, tree will grow leaves, flowers, and then fruits, and they fly away, they plant other seeds, create their own forest. Yeah, so that was my thought process as to, like, if I can't be the chef that's necessary right now, I'll try to plant the seeds that will change the world in 100 years to come, 200 years, 300 years. So that's my goal, to get in touch with the youth here with my global knowledge of ballet and the theater, and kind of start a conversation and teach them how to question everything.
Do you find that, ballet's been around for, I don't know, centuries. Do you guys try to keep a lot of the things the same? And is there ways to disrupt ballet to become modern, or become, instead of, the golf game is always going to be the same. Is there ways to make the golf game better? Is there ways to improve morale or how things are done? Can you disrupt that for the better?
That's the interesting part of ballet. It was kind of, it took its shape 360 years ago, almost. But what ballet has been doing and is adopting other cultures. That's what they're very good at. It was founded in Italy, but then this Italian princess went to France. And then the French court changed up a little bit. So again, the Italy and France mixed. And then Brits came and the Russians came, and they all kind of migrated through European history of conflict. Where there's war, they would go away. There's a war here now, so they'll go away. Soviet Union was tough, so lots of the artists, migrated over to States. And then New York and Balanchine kind of exploded and all that jazz. So already ballet is so far different from what it was, by accepting everything, by absorbing everything. So I guess it's very imperialistic in a way, Oh, I like this. I'll just take it from you.
Now, there's different languages and dialects in ballet. Can you see a move and say, oh, that's an Italian move, or that's from France, that's a move from France? Can you speak that? Is that a language itself in the movements?
Yeah, there are styles also that are different, that has been archived. And yes, you can say, like, this is how the French do this step, and this is how the Russians do this step, and this is how the Italians do this step. But nowadays, you have to be able to do any style, because depending on, is this ballet set in France, then you do the French way. Is this ballet set in Russia, you do it in the Russian way. Things like that.
What is some of the most important elements in the body that a ballerina or a ballerino needs to do?
Oh,
like, is it core is obviously huge, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Core is huge. Proprioception is huge. I think it's just like any high performance sport. Like you need to train your connection from your brain to body so that the body goes to where you tell them to go. Like you close your eyes and you spread your arms to the side, you think it's horizontal, you open your eyes. Is it really horizontal?
No, usually it'll be like this, right? Yeah.
Right? Like, so that's what you are kind of, that's a very important skill to have. But also, that's a very interesting, I think that's something we kind of search forever. Yeah.
Is there ways to reduce foot cramps? Because when I see the feet go like this, I mean, my toes just cramp up just watching that.
Yeah. So do mine. And no, there is no way of not hurting. It's always going to hurt. Point shoes is always going to happen. You just have to deal with it. But then, you know, like hockey players know this will hurt, that will hurt, right? Like
you build calluses, right? And
oh yeah, but it still hurts. But I did lose I think I lost my nerve on my knees.
Yeah.
Because when I dance on my knees, it doesn't hurt anymore.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so you can kind of, well, but you know, it's the same like shins of the kickboxers, right? They beat it to pulp so it stops hurting. Yeah. And the bone density gets like really strong and all that jazz.
Have you gone back to Japan or areas of Japan and seen some of those people that once bullied you or seen them around?
Oh yeah. Not the elementary school friends, because I lost touch with them completely. I can't seem to find them on social media. I have tried, but there are a few. I mean, I still have friends in Japan. Yeah.
Well, the ones that were, or some that did bully you, have they seen what you've done in this world now and what you are doing? And have you made peace with the bullies, I would say? Even if you haven't seen them, have you made peace with yourself and the people that were mean to you once in life?
I totally have, because I actually would like to, you know, apologize to them for being a jerk. And I totally understand why they did that. And I have definitely made peace, and I'm thankful for those experiences. Because,
it's life. We grow, right? We make mistakes and we're human beings.
Exactly, yeah. And if you can't accept your past, no matter what they are, how are you going to be satisfied with yourself today, right? Or content, at least.
Exactly. What do you do to get in the zone? So when you were 10 years in the ballet, Alberta Ballet, what did you do to, okay, I'm going on stage, I'm going on a performance now. Did you meditate? Did you say something to yourself to get calm and forget the external worldly problems of your life and just say, I'm in the zone. I have to be here today, now.
Right. I have had my routine, so to speak, pre-show routine up until early 20s. And then I stopped doing that because whenever I couldn't do them, you know, I would have a mental breakdown. And I said, it's more of a burden than, you know, helpful tool. Because if I need this to perform well, what am I without it? Like, you know, it kind of took values away from me outside of performance. So I said, I will just be myself 24/7. And I'll go out on stage like it's my living room.
Okay.
Yeah. And in a way, if you want to flip that, I would behave 24/7 as if I am always performing. So like I always tell my students that don't come into studio and suddenly start dancing. You have to make sure you're dancing 24/7. You come here and then I can suggest you a different way. It's like, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? But
so your life needs to have a certain rhythm to it.
Yeah, and it's not that you are performing or the performing makes you. It's just no.
And it's also in here. You're on, right? You're performing on. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not like always dancing on the streets. It's just, or going back and forth. Yes.
Yeah, like, it's like light and shadow. Like, it doesn't exist one or the other. And there is no on or off. It's not about that. This is you, and that's that.
Okay. When you created this Hattori Williamson, who is Williamson? And how did you guys meet to create what you do today?
Yes. We met Tara Williamson in Alberta Ballet when we joined. Yeah. And like, we really respect her as an artist, dancer, as a person. And we always stayed great friends. And after Alberta Ballet, she moved to Montreal, danced there, and then went to BC, Vancouver, and danced there. So she has seen different part of the dance world that Gail and I aren't particularly familiar with. And we get really along, and her husband is working and residing in Calgary.
Okay.
So, he really wanted to get her back here. It's like, guys, get Tara back in Calgary. So we were like, we're making this. Why don't you join us?
Perfect way.
Yeah.
It's a full circle for you. You did what your mom used to do to you.
Maybe.
Why don't you check this out?
Yeah, here's an opportunity.
Is your mom and dad still in Tokyo, or are they in Canada now?
Oh, they're still in Tokyo because they still perform.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, in theaters and stuff. So, yeah.
Is there a plan to bring them here?
If I can afford it, yes, yeah. Bring them over. Yeah.
How do you know who can be someone that can one day perform in ballet? Can anyone just become a ballerina or ballerino, or is there a gift that they have to have, or can you work towards that?
I can't tell.
Yeah.
Like, when I look at student, I don't categorize them. They will make it, they won't make it, because all of us throughout our dance education, we've seen talented dancers fail, and we've seen untalented dancers suddenly get a spark of inspiration and transform into this amazing dancer and become, star of the company.
Wow. Okay.
So when it clicks, we can never tell. So we don't turn away anybody, really. We want to look at them to see where they are at, so we can place them accordingly, in which level of class you should go first, or things like that. Because without the information, of course, you cannot execute it properly.
Are you seeing more males come in?
Oh, yeah, we've got tons of male dancers. I think we have like eight right now.
Nice.
Yeah, and we'll have more. And it's nice to see that. Yeah.
It is. It's at one time, like you said, it was not the norm. It was taboo. It was different. Right. But I think now it's beautiful, and it really shows strength and dominance. It's a tough sport that they're in. I can't even.
Yeah. And we don't stop them from wearing point shoes and take point class.
Yeah.
Yeah. I teach them male technique as well, because there are certain things that, only male body can do. Yeah.
Is it harder for you now, as you're out of the ballet, to do certain moves? Like, do you continually need to create? Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. Like, I'm 40 now.
Yeah.
And my mind can move my body as if there were 25. So when I move it in my fullest ability of my mind, my body actually can't keep up. It's interesting. So I can do all the tricks still, but I break myself.
It hurts. Recovery's longer.
Yes. Yeah, it's interesting.
How do you train your mind? What do you do to train up to sync your mind and body? What are some techniques that we can leave people with?
Oh, it can either be just repetition with analysis, I guess. Yeah, so you can't just repeat blindly. You need to kind of feel your body every moment and then do a micro adjustment as you repeat. That's the best way to kind of create the connection and the adaptation of momentous, because situations change. Or the other way around, when I'm getting treated in physio or stretch or workout, I focus on those muscles. So I'm sending signal the other way around. So instead of giving, I try to focus on the receiving end of my neurons and brain cells so that the connection is always smooth.
Interesting. Okay. Because I always feel if I'm receiving, it's going to be more painful to receive rather than just focus on the energy, keep pushing against it. But I see what you're saying better.
Yeah, I'm very dramatic in physio because of that. Because then I'm feeling this being pushed and I feel how this affects the other parts of the body. So I'm creating an anatomical map within me, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And then that allows me to move them better because the tunnel is always clear. Right.
Channel, yeah. And so many of your micro muscles, it's not even the big muscles, it's the little tiny ones.
Yeah. And I perceive my body as molecules rather than matter.
Okay.
Like a solid matter. Like bone, I can imagine them to be serpentine, like snake's body. So when I move my body, I imagine my bones to be 2 million joints. It doesn't.
but that's what you imagine. That's how you're able to move certain bones.
Right. Yeah, I try to isolate molecules and only move this molecule, that molecule. You know what I mean?
I love it.
It's silly, but it's, that's
the outcome is beautiful. Let's say that. It works. Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
So
that's how I approach my audience as well. It's not that I express my feeling, because I always wondered, what is charisma? What is, being moved?
Aura.
Yeah, well, that's why, like, my scientific point of view is that there is molecule between us right now. So if I can move my molecule and affect the molecules in between, it reaches you eventually. I don't know. And
it resonates. Yeah, you feel it.
Right. Yeah. So I see them as waves, and it's kind of similar to music, I guess, because those are movements too.
Yukichi, to leave people here today with something, how can they get a hold of you guys if they want to enroll?
Yes.
And obviously I'll add the links in here. And B is, what is a message to someone that has children or are thinking to go into ballet? What is some words of wisdom from your experience in life?
Yeah. Well, you can always directly contact me at Yukichi Hattori on Instagram or Facebook. Our website is hwballet.com. So those emails, I read them personally, all of them. So that's the best way. Parents with dancing children,
or someone that's interested in coming. What are some of the first steps someone needs to address within themselves if they want to go into ballet?
Oh, I see. Allow yourself to fail. Like, don't get frustrated with your failures, because I think the one thing I can teach well is because I've made all the mistakes a professional can make. And we all know, like Michael Jordan said in that famous Netflix show, right? I missed more shots than I made it. And it's the same. Every day we face failure. Like every training is simply reevaluating, what did I do wrong and how can I do it better? So when mistakes happen, welcome it with positive attitude rather than frustration. Or if you do get frustrated, like use that energy to try it again, kind of thing.
But don't let it bring you down. And
never. Yeah.
Life is an internal game, isn't it? It's all in here. how we think.
Yeah. I always tell my students the frustration's one step closer to improvement or, breakthrough. So yeah, if you're feeling good about yourself, you're probably stagnant.
Yeah. Now, what if you're overly feeling good about yourself?
I mean, I've seen that happen too. Like extremely confident person just nails everything.
Or the other way around. You're like, what?
At least they're feeling good about themselves, I guess.
That's important. Thank you so much for today, Yukichi.
Well, thank you, Zach. It was a pleasure.